Hello and welcome to Atlantic Aviation Group. I'm Shane O'Neill, the CEO here at Atlantic Aviation Group Shannon. Thank you for participating in our workplace safety induction. We are dedicated to ensuring the safety of our team and visitors, while also being committed to protecting the environment through sustainable practices. As part of our commitment to safety, we ask that you always report any incidents or accidents immediately. Your prompt reporting helps us address issues quickly and maintain a safe workplace. Additionally, if you observe anything that seems unsafe or out of the ordinary, please speak up. It's essential to communicate any concerns you might have, no matter how small they may seem. If something doesn't feel right, trust your instincts and refrain from performing the task until it has been reviewed. We have implemented a comprehensive set of site safety rules and protocols designed to protect you and your colleagues. These guidelines are in place to ensure that everyone remains safe while working. Please take the time to familiarise yourself with these safety measures and adhere to them at all times. Thank you for your attention to these important safety practices. By working together and staying vigilant, we can create a safe and productive environment for all. Enjoy your time, and once again, welcome to Atlantic Aviation Group.
Site Safety Induction. Welcome to Atlantic Aviation. Your safety is our #1 priority. We would like to inform you of the rules you should follow to have a pleasant stay and get home safe following your time at AAG. Mandatory sign-in and daily check-in requirements, ensuring on-site security and safety. If you're visiting for a short duration, you will be required to sign in daily, where you will receive a temporary ID badge. You must be met and escorted at all times by your AAG point of contact while operating on site on a temporary ID badge. You will be given a site information leaflet, and you are encouraged to read this prior to entering site. If you will be visiting for more than 3 days, you may also be issued an AAG Access ID badge once you have completed Garda vetting and the required security and health and safety training. If you receive an AAG Access badge, you must scan it at the turnstiles each time you enter the facility. There is a strict one scan, one person rule, and you are never permitted to scan another person through the turnstiles. If you lose your badge or find that it isn't working, you must contact the security officer immediately. Searches. Employees and trainees of Atlantic Aviation Group Hangar 1, as well as anybody contracted to work within the AAG H1 facility, will be liable to security checks and searches. These checks and searches can apply to the individuals themselves and/or their property. This policy is designed to ensure that the activities of security personnel are controlled and that disruption to individual employees is kept to a minimum in accordance with Security Procedure 011. In this context, employees, contractors and visitors should not therefore see any search of an individual or his/her property as anything out of the ordinary. MRO Aircraft Protection. Parked aircraft on AAG H1 ramp are protected by closing access doors and removing access steps from the vicinity. Parked aircraft on the airfield, for example, in storage, are protected by the airport and airfield access security protocols. Security precautions and personal belongings. Please be aware of the following precautions. Permanent staff and trainees are issued with personal lockers. Valuables should not be left in lockers. Valuables should not be left in bags in the break rooms either. Electrical devices, e.g. phones, tablets, laptops, chargers, etc., should not be left unattended. Bring them home or lock them away. Don't store cash or vouchers in office areas. Don't leave purses, handbags or wallets unattended on desk area or workstations. Lock offices when going to breaks. Lock storage lockers and drawers and secure keys. For security issues, contact the security office at extension 185. CCTV notice. Active surveillance in progress. Please be aware that CCTV is installed within this facility for your safety and security. CCTV in use signs are displayed indicating active surveillance. Garda vetting requirements. As part of our commitment to ensuring a secure and safe environment for everyone, we require all new members of our team to undergo Garda vetting. The Garda vetting process in Ireland is a background check procedure conducted by the National Vetting Bureau of An Garda Síochána, the Irish police force. It's designed to ensure that individuals who work with us do not have a history that could pose a risk to our safety standards and community trust. Garda vetting form. To begin the vetting application process, you will require a vetting application form. This can be obtained from your AAG point of contact or the security officer. The security officer will also advise you of the next steps that are needed. The process involves the following steps. Application submission. You will need to submit your application through Atlantic Aviation. This is done online using the e-vetting system. Consent. During the application process, you will be required to provide consent for a background check. Background check. An Garda Síochána will conduct a thorough background check, reviewing any criminal records or relevant information associated with you. This includes a search of the Garda Criminal Records database and other relevant sources. Vetting disclosure. Once the background check is completed, the National Vetting Bureau will issue a vetting disclosure. This document, sent directly to us, will indicate whether you have any criminal convictions or other relevant information that could impact your suitability for the role. If you have already completed Garda vetting and received a vetting disclosure, please submit it to the HR department upon starting your employment or to your AAG point of contact at the beginning of your visit. Summary of site access and security procedures. Complete mandatory biometric sign-in for security and safety. Obtain a temporary ID badge for short visits, check in daily. Request an AAG access badge for visits longer than 3 days with prior induction training. Be aware of CCTV surveillance in place for your safety and security. Undergo Garda vetting to ensure a secure environment for new team members. Follow the Garda vetting process, which includes an application, consent, background check, and vetting disclosure. Pedestrian safety and site traffic and parking guidelines. Speed limit. Please adhere to all posted speed limits and directional signage on site and remain vigilant for pedestrians. Parking. Vehicles parked within AAG are done so at the owner's risk. Avoid parking in areas that obstruct doorways, accessways, or walkways. At AAG, we request that you park your car in such a way you can drive out of the space. Walkways and clearways. Ensure that walkways and stairways are kept clear at all times and that you keep to the left where possible. Vehicle permits. All vehicles that are required to enter the facility past security must acquire a vehicle permit. These can be issued either on a weekly or daily basis depending on the duration of your stay. All permits must be returned to the security office on expiration. Daily check-in requirement with your AAG contact. For the duration of your stay here at AAG, you should check in with your supervisor or point of contact each morning prior to commencing work. Safety signage. At AAG, we ask that you adhere to all safety and security signage and remember that all guidance displayed on blue signage is mandatory. PPE requirements. General and task-specific guidelines. The minimum PPE requirements include safety footwear and bump caps in all production areas. Once you leave the designated walkways, or once you cross the blue production line, safety footwear must always be worn on the hangar floor, shops and stores, and both safety footwear and high visibility clothing in the apron area. Task-specific PPE requirements are detailed in the risk assessment or procedure for the task you're performing. Depending on the task, this may include safety glasses, bump caps, hard hats, or various types of gloves. Task-specific PPE. The following lists are non-exhaustive and are the bare minimum requirements. Safety glasses. Required when cutting, sanding, grinding, removing panels, wing to body, sidewall and ceiling. Safety goggles. Required when working with greasing, working with oils, fuels, and hydraulic fluids, cleaning or washing aircraft, painting or spraying ear defenders, required when exposed to unavoidable noise levels that reach or exceed 85 decibels, or when you cannot hold a conversation with somebody that is 1 meter away from you without raising your voices, must be used during engine runs, during riveting, during aircraft landing and taking off while working on the ramp or apron areas, while working in the sanding room with sanders and extraction systems running at the same time, while running noisy equipment, start cart or bandsaw, working in noisy environments, for example cargo bays with circulatory fans running. Gloves. Various types of gloves are available for your protection depending on the task you're carrying out. Butyl rubber gloves should be used when working with stronger chemicals and are mandatory while paint stripping and working with iodine. Nitrile rubber gloves should be used when working with paints, primers, and other light tasks where the skin needs to be protected. Cut-resistant gloves must always be worn when working with sheet metal, heavy metal structure, and in any other area that there is a high risk of cuts or scratches. Full face shields. Full face shields provide protection against nuisance dust and potential splashes or sprays of hazardous liquids, but they do not always offer impact protection unless specifically rated for it. Face shields are designed to protect the face, not the eyes. For proper eye protection, wear safety glasses with side shields or goggles underneath the face shield. Full face shields are a required component of the personal protective equipment for tasks such as paint stripping and iodining. Sanding, we ask that where possible all sanding be carried out in the designated sanding room. There are designated sanding areas within the facility. In the composite workshop, sheet metal shop, panel shop and paint shop. If a sanding task needs to be performed outside of these areas, consult your supervisor for the specific requirements. FOD, foreign object debris. FOD refers to any object found in an inappropriate location within the airport environment that has the potential to cause injury to airport or airline personnel or damage aircraft. Reasons to avoid FOD. Injury prevention. Loose objects can become dangerous projectiles, risking injury. Aircraft safety. Debris on runways or ramps can damage aircraft, leading to accidents or costly repairs. During your time at AAG, you have a role in preventing FOD. To reduce the risk of FOD at the airport, we should follow these steps. Remove it and dispose of it in the bins provided. Identify the source to prevent recurrence. Clean as you go at all times. It is your duty as an AAG employee to pick up any FOD that you see. When towing aircraft up the line, ensure that there is no FOD on the back of the tug that may be lost on the runway. The apron is a high-risk area where all FOD should be placed in a bin as soon as it's found. FOD should not be allowed to accumulate in MUPs, and they should be cleaned at regular intervals. Chemical storage and disposal. MEK IPA white spirits issued from stores and must only be stored in the designated cabinets when not in use. Prior to use, these must be decanted into smaller containers and labelled. Labels are available from the tool crib. All hazardous waste should be placed in the red hazardous waste bins, which are located at various locations around the facility. Yellow hazardous material storage cabinets are located around the hangar floor. All hazardous materials should be stored in these when not in use. Work permits and safety protocols. If you are coming on site to carry out work under the supervision of the Facilities Department, you will require a permit to work prior to commencing. Permits are issued either on a weekly or daily basis depending on the task or tasks to be carried out. The General Work Permit and Hot Works Permit are essential documents for maintaining safety and adhering to protocols on site. The general work permit is required for all types of work to ensure that safety measures are in place and that potential hazards are assessed and managed. The hot works permit, specifically needed for tasks involving open flames or heat, such as welding or cutting, helps to mitigate fire risks and ensure that appropriate fire safety precautions are taken. Both permits are integral to maintaining a safe working environment and ensuring that all activities are carried out in accordance with established safety standards and procedures. Power leads, airlines, and other trip hazards. If you require a power lead or airline, we ask that you place them in the protective covers available to lower the likelihood of them becoming a trip hazard. Emergency procedures and first aid contact. To locate a first aider, you may dial 222 from any fixed phone within the facility, which will alert the first aider on call or contact your supervisor immediately. A list of first aiders are located at various points within the facility. Typical locations include hand washing areas, first aid box locations, and notice boards. The first aid room is located on the main corridor next to the sheet metal shop. This is identified with over-door signage visible as you walk along the corridor. There are 3 defibrillators on site, and these are located at the first aid room, outside the main canteen on level 3, and in the security office at the main entrance. Wash areas. There are 4 wash areas located on the production floor. At these locations, you will also find eye wash stations, emergency showers, and foot-operated hand washing facilities. These areas are cleaned at regular intervals, and you are asked that, when you use these areas, that you leave them in a clean and tidy manner for the next user. In the event of a fire or evacuation, stop what you are doing, power off any equipment you are using, use emergency stops if needed to disable machinery, evacuate to the assembly points in the main car park or at the bike shelter, and on evacuation adhere to messages that will be played over the intercom at the security office. Designated fire wardens will complete a sweep of the building and report to the evacuation coordinator at security. During a live evacuation, the cause of alarm will be investigated by the on-site emergency response team, who will relay detail to the facilities department and security. Once the investigation is complete and it's safe to return to work, you will be advised by security. Reporting incidents and accidents. All incidents, near misses, and health and safety observations must be reported promptly to your supervisor or AAG point of contact. This will allow us to investigate and review procedures to reduce the chance of a reoccurrence. All accidents or incidents must be reported immediately to your supervisor or AAG point of contact. Emergency Response Team, ERT. AAG have an on-site ERT. The ERT is specially trained in evacuation, search, and rescue procedures, and has certification to use specialised equipment like breathing apparatus. In addition, other emergency equipment, aside from standard extinguishers and hose reels, can only be used by trained members of the ERT. Summary of pedestrian safety, site traffic, and work protocols. Adhere to all posted speed limits and stay vigilant for pedestrians. Park your vehicle responsibly and avoid blocking accessways, doorways, or walkways. Check in with your supervisor or AAG point of contact each morning before starting work. Wear the required PPE, including safety boots, bump caps, and high visibility clothing in designated areas. Follow task-specific PPE requirements as outlined in the risk assessment or procedure. Store hazardous materials in yellow cabinets and dispose of hazardous waste in red hazardous bins. If working under the supervision of the facilities department, obtain the required work permits before starting any tasks, including general and hot works permits. Report all incidents, near misses, and safety observations to your supervisor or AAG contact immediately. Manual handling guidelines and safety. Manual handling is not just about lifting heavy objects. It includes any activity that involves using force to lower, push, pull, hold, or restrain items. If your job involves any of these tasks, you must complete manual handling training. Always seek assistance or use mechanical aids when moving heavy objects to ensure safety. Equipment uses. Some equipment requires you to partake in specific training and be deemed competent prior to use. Some of this equipment includes tugs, forklifts, wing grip, gantry crane, hanger door and MUPs. If you need training, please inform your supervisor so they can arrange it for you. E-scooter and bicycle storage. Once you get to the main entrance, dismount and walk your e-scooter or bicycle to the storage shelter provided, to the right-hand side on the entrance as you approach the security office. Work at height guidelines. MUP use. You are only permitted to operate mobile elevated work platforms once you have completed the required training. If you have an in-date MUP operator cert, you will still be required to take part in a practical assessment. This can be arranged by your supervisor or AAG point of contact. A safety harness must be worn at all times while operating in MUPs, and this must always be connected to the designated anchor point located within the basket. Podium steps. Follow the step-by-step guide provided for safe use. Take steps to the work area. Once you're happy the podium is in the correct position, use the side rails to maintain 3 points of contact while climbing and ensure that you only work from the platform and not the rungs. When on the platform, immediately close the gate. Ensure the lock is put in the correct position. Never overreach outside the cage area or stand on the rails to gain additional height. If there is ever any doubt around AAG safety procedures, ask. A-frame ladders. A-frame ladders are only authorised for use on the upper deck of the aircraft. Before use, it is the user's responsibility to confirm that the most recent inspection has been completed. This biannual inspection can be verified by checking the colour displayed on the access equipment board located in the main corridor. Scaffolding and docking. Always check that the inspection tag is valid before use of scaffold and inspection sticker on docking. Apron access. Apron access is restricted and high-vis clothing must be worn. AAG access to the aerodrome and runways is by taxiway golf. There is a red and white line across this taxiway which you will require permission from the airport to cross with vehicles, aircraft or as a pedestrian. There is also a physical barrier which can be placed or removed by the Shannon Airport Authority. This is usually done during Category 2 procedures. Summary of the safety and operational guidelines. Manual handling. Includes lifting, pushing or pulling. Training and mechanical aids are required for safety. Equipment use. Tugs, forklifts, wing grip, and MUPs. Gantry crane and hanger door require specific training before use. E-scooter and bicycle storage, located in the bicycle shelter within the main car park. Work at height. MUP and podium steps require training. Follow safety steps like 3-point contact and no overreaching, and a harness is required at all times when operating a MUP. Apron access. Observe restricted access to the taxiway for safety compliance. Mobile phone and earbud policy. Mobile phones can be distracting and should never be used in situations like working at height, operating machinery, or near hazardous materials. In exceptional cases, critical business or urgent personal calls are allowed, but must be brief and rare. In such cases, these calls should be taken away from the main production floor on the main corridor or break room. Please use designated break times for routine personal calls, texts, or messages. Earbud use. Using headphones or earbuds in the aircraft maintenance environment pose a high risk of injury, especially around moving equipment and when important evacuation announcements are made. All AAG employees and contractors must comply with policies. Headphones and earbuds are prohibited in the following areas: apron, roads within the AAG facility, shops, main production floor, spill kit availability and use on the production floor. If you cause or see a spill, use the spill kits available to clean. Spill kits for larger fuel spills are available on the apron and in areas A and C on the production floor. Guidelines for using the canteen and break room areas. Eating is only permitted in the available canteen and break room areas. If you use the provided canteen area, you are asked to leave them in a tidy condition and report any issues to your AAG point of contact. Clean up any spills as soon as possible to maintain a clean environment. Bathroom cleanliness. Bathrooms are cleaned at regular intervals throughout the day. You are asked to leave bathrooms in a tidy condition and as you would expect to find them. Please report any issues to your AAG point of contact. Environmental responsibility and waste management. Personal responsibility. We all have a responsibility to ensure that environmental protection is a consideration in all projects and activities on site. Waste management. Any waste generated during your time on site must be disposed of properly, following the site's guidelines and procedures. Smoking and vaping policy. Smoking and vaping are not permitted inside the AAG building or at any access points. These activities are only allowed in the designated smoking area, located at the front of the building at Block 2, adjacent to the paint shop. Regardless of all our safety rules, standards and procedures, you will always be responsible for your own actions. Atlantic Aviation's main goal is to get you and other members of the team home safely every day. Please report any unsafe conditions or unsafe behaviours to your supervisor or AAG contact immediately. Remember, all personnel must adhere to sign-in and daily check-in protocols for security and safety, with temporary or access badges issued based on the visit duration. Active CCTV surveillance is in place throughout the facility for safety and security purposes. New team members must undergo Garda vetting to ensure compliance with safety standards and community trust. Adhere to site speed limits, park responsibly, and ensure walkways and access ways remain clear at all times. Safety boots, bump caps, and high visibility clothing are required in specific areas, with additional task-specific PPE mandated by risk assessments. Hazardous materials must be stored in yellow cabinets when not in use and disposed of in red hazardous waste bins. General and hot work permits are required for all tasks if you are taking instruction from the facility's team lead. Use protective covers for power leads or airlines to prevent trip hazards. Contact your AAG point of contact or dial 222 from any fixed landline to contact a first aider. You can also access a list via Launchpad and at various other locations within the facility. In case of fire or evacuation, stop work, power off equipment, evacuate to the main car park, and contact your AAG point of contact. If you're in an accident, inform your supervisor or AAG point of contact before leaving the site. Complete manual handling training and use aids or get help when moving heavy objects to prevent injury. Training is mandatory for the operations of tugs, forklifts, MUPs, gantry crane, hangar door, and wing grip. Always use podium steps or MUPs with proper training, maintaining 3-point contact and avoiding overreaching. Mobile phones and earbuds are prohibited in high-risk areas and should only be used during breaks in designated areas. Spill kits are available to clean up any spills on the production floor or apron areas. Eating is only permitted in the canteen and break room areas, which must be left clean after use. All personnel must follow waste disposal guidelines and prioritise environmental protection on site. Smoking and vaping are allowed only in the designated area. Thank you for taking the time to complete the induction.